the school board, Susan was the school board representative. You would go to maybe, you know, they have a meeting once a month. They have a business meeting and a like a work session each month. And you would want to go to the business meeting. You don't have to go to every single one because they have meetings where they talk about test scores and things like that that really aren't relevant. But when we intersect, it's always nice to have somebody there to report back and say, hey, this is what the school's working on. And somebody would be like, oh, you know, maybe say, hey, you know, why don't you get with the city on that before you guys get any further, that kind of thing. Not that they're not good about, you know, the superintendent is good about keeping communications, and the police chief speaks with them frequently, but having a council representative is always nice.
Says on here the fourth Monday at 6:30.
Facade committee.
Facade committee. Check to see it here.
Is it not on there?
No, so that's the
What's that?
That's the choice.
I don't know, what did it say that? What, yeah.
Okay.
Whatever the fix that in the month is.
That's why I brought it
Martin
up.
Luther King, I think that.
And then
So they might not have it that night.
Crying out
they
loud.
may change it.
What are you doing looking?
I was gonna say, I'm there at the school. Well, I was PTA, but I'm still on there to see. Yeah.
I should be embarrassed. Okay. Everybody's comfortable with that. That's easy. That concludes our work session. We should probably cut these things down to just a half hour and just make it a 7 o'clock start.
Unless it's something really, really big.
Yeah. Pack it. We don't need to do that. Make work. Alright, well, is there anything else? John, you always got a couple things.
Yeah, I got some really good news this morning.
Can you turn your, speaking of...
I was just leaning back. I got some really good news this morning. As you guys know, with the museum, we've been trying to get a grant. We were approved for the grant, and for the last year, it's one more thing. By the way, one more thing. This last one more thing is that the contract is going to the State Attorney General for his signature. We'll get it back in 2 weeks, so about 3 or 4 weeks we can start sending in all the receipts so that we continue doing work on the Farm Bureau.
Excellent.
Yes, I'm very happy with that one.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for $16,000.
Yeah. Every time I turned around, I sent out for the state vendor number in the end of November. It was actually assigned, but the email must have bounced back or something. So after a month, I'm going, what the heck's going on here? We're not getting anything. Mary Evans didn't get anything, so I resubmitted. 3 weeks later, still nothing, so I started searching around. We found the person, that's Emily, that's been helping us with this. She gave me a phone number, so I got to talk to them. Oh yeah, we gave that to you guys a long time ago, November 29th. What? So I gave another number to Emily. She called them and got the number, and everything's moving forward again.
Good.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. And I was at the Thurston County Commissioners meeting this morning, and this afternoon I was able to stay for the public testimony. And the county is now starting to get pressured to do something about the homeless situation, because it's really spilling out all over the place. The idea is that people want the county to declare the homeless situation that we're seeing now as a emergency situation, and then have the governor declare it as an emergency situation. And it is now not being looked at as Olympia's problem, Tumwater's problem, Lacey's problem. It is being looked at as a regional problem, because as you've heard me say before, this is something that you need to get ahead of, otherwise you're just going to get eaten up financially. Now they're looking at the whole county to help with this, and it's nothing definite yet, but that means they're going to want money from us as well. So sometime in the future, that's what's going to happen. That's what they're going to say, is that we need money from you guys as well. So we are now pretty much behind the 8 ball on this. No,
Depressing.
Yeah.
I was feeling pretty good there for a little bit.
yeah,
Well,
You can
let's
live in a
see,
museum now that you got.
yeah.
We had our sexual harassment training today at the legislative building.
That's right, exactly.
Yes, it was quite interesting. Here is this one table full of all retired women that work at the hotline, and they're teaching us about sexual harassment. And I'm going,
Dr. Ruth.
oh, Lord. Anyway, and legislative ethics also is another big thing. Doing things on your computer, doing things on work. When I started there in the late 80s, in the 90s was when it really got bad. They, because it was required almost, you know, when you went to work for a legislator, you just did all the campaign stuff and everything else there. You just did it, that's all. Well, there was this huge blow up. And they took about 3 different ethics committees and formed the Legislative Ethics Commission, and it's really stringent now. You don't dare, I mean, you could do things like if you're gonna be late for dinner, email your husband and say, I'm gonna be late tonight, but you cannot use your computer or your time when you're working for anything except, you know, just, which is right, I think. But it just, we all laughed. We thought it was hilarious that they were teaching us old ladies about sexual yeah.
It's never too late to learn, is it?
No, well, I guess, yeah, you're right. Having been in the bar business, so I think I understand. No, it's, you know, we've had most of the calls we get are on the wall. They want the wall or they don't want the wall.
You're kidding.
So we're giving them.
That's something that you have to talk to people
No,
about?
we don't. No. We just give them the federal. We give them.
The number.
That's
Yeah,
seriously a
Mary's and-
phone call that you get frequently.
Oh, absolutely,
Oh
because
my
they don't
God.
understand that we're state and not federal. They think, you people have no idea how many people don't even know that they have 2 U.S. senators and 1 U.S. congressman. They don't even know it. Most of them don't know they've got 1 senator in the state and 2 representatives. They have no idea, not a clue. Oh, I have. I've got 2 state representatives. Oh, it boggles my mind. You know, yes. Of course, I don't think they teach that kind of thing in school anymore.
No. Civics, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. Although I did get a call today from a civics teacher, high school civics teacher, wanting information. He was in his classroom and he called to find out when the session started and different things. So we had quite a conversation. I told him whatever I knew. You know. So, yeah.
Fine.
And in case anybody's interested, we haven't got a draft cutoff calendar on the different things, but it's the same as 2013, and you know, you can go on the public site and you can get that and bring it up. Because the session started on January 14th in 2013, so it'll be the same amount of time, unless they change it. They might change something, you know, but they might change it a little bit, but probably not very much. And let's see, what else?
So you're saying we could look at the Farmer's Almanac and predict how the legislature's
about.
gonna act?
Pretty
Just
much.
about. Just about. Yeah. Interesting.
Dave, you got anything random to throw at us? How was your break?
Let's see. We're having our meeting on the 17th for the big solar thing.
Yes.
People are gonna be there
I worked that night.
I'm gonna try. You said it's what time?
at 8:30 to 10:30
I'm gonna try. It's out at PSC?
At night.
in the morning.
It's at the
It's
school.
breakfast.
Oh, it's here?
It's at the school, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
I can't
after,
come
yeah.
back. I can't come back.
Breakfast from Donovan's if you wanna go.
Just get
Breakfast from Don Juan's, huh?
Jason's in.
I talked to him making breakfast for us, special.
Going in sick to work that day. Pepsi truck parked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the 18th I gotta go to Spokane, Wenatchee.
But yeah, and then we'll have the presentation to TransAlta that same afternoon for like $500,000. So we'll see.
It's after 7.
I know.
Come on. What else, Dave? Everybody's power back on?
I didn't lose power.
Nobody did.
I didn't either.
Oh, okay.
Everybody around us did.
They didn't
Yeah,
on
mine
the,
acres did.
on the, down
Right behind me.
the other end of town. Colleen
Yeah.
usually,
So did
Yeah.
they usually lose.
Ronnie, you got anything?
all that.
I had it. You guys don't have enough time for all this
We
stuff.
slipped right through it.
Our next council getaway. We were looking at March. If you guys have your calendars handy.
I don't. But it's a Saturday, right?
It's a Saturday, and I wanna say, our choices are looking like the 6th and the, let me bring it up so I don't tell you something bad. The 9th or the 16th. With most folks leaning, support staff at any rate, leaning toward the 16th, but
When is-
really it's what works best for you all.
When is the race for Rowan thing at Little Creek? Is it the 27th? No.
I'll have to double check, but yeah.
But it's not the
near
16th or the 9th,
No.
okay.
No.
What we're talking about is, it's our yearly strategic planning session, so the council, the department heads, representatives from the EDC, which is the Economic Development Council, the Thurston Regional Planning Council, and our new planners.
March what?
The
9th or the 16th?
9th or the 16th.
They did the 16th.
Just before
16th.
St. Patrick's
16th is
Day?
fine with me.
But anyway, we all get together, and what we ask council to do is look out 10 to 15 years, if possible, and what is your vision for Tenino? You know, what do you want Tenino to look like in 2030? And that's very helpful for the staff so that we can start, you know, getting the wheels turning in that direction. Last year, the document that was produced last year was immensely helpful this year. I think it's one of the reasons why we have been as successful as we have been. We got a roadmap.
It's really interesting, it really is. And it's gonna be Doug Ma again?
Yeah, Doug does a really fine
Yes,
job.
he
And
does.
there's other reasons that we like to use him. He's embedded in other processes.
Look at this stupid thing.
You like using Tumwater Fire Department, or do you want me to
Sure,
find someplace else?
Free and close.
It's free and close.
yeah.
It's really actually pretty convenient.
I'll try to remember to get there this time.
Yeah, please.
Last time you had to call me, I think I was on my way when you called. but-
Oh, what's going on?
So the 16th is the better day.
That's how you're going.
Yeah, we can do a pre-St. Patrick's Day celebration.
Is that St. Patrick's Day, the
17th?
17th is?
Is there anything you guys would like for us to put on that agenda?
Well, let's make that a specific thing maybe at the
Yeah,
next
yeah,
work session.
yeah.
Okay.
We'll go over what we went over. We'll review what we did last year. I'd like to give the last 15 minutes to Chief Swain. He's got to go to the high school basketball game before the end of the meeting, so he would like to give his report during the work session. Nope.
Am I on now?
You are.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, here, Police Chief Robert Swain. Just want to give my report out. Like the mayor said, I have to go to a very important men's basketball game tonight. They're playing a big school, and I can't remember the name of the school, of course, but it's supposed to be a big game for them. Just a couple of things to start off 2019. Hopefully by next council meeting, I will have a year-end report to give to all of you on the police department for 2018. Probably focusing on the last 6 months that I've been here, because that's what I know about. So I'll do the best I can with that. We have 2 reserves that are in their final phase to come on board with us. Hopefully we'll have a swearing in the next council session as well for them. And what I'm really excited about is, as of today, and the mayor has been supportive of this, we're gonna have our own Reserve Police Officer Academy here in Tenino. Yeah, it's gonna be a big deal. It will go to our branding and get us out there in a great way. Reserve academies are not run as often as regular full-time academies, so they're few and far between, which makes it very difficult for small agencies like us to find places to send our reserve officers for the training. It's 296 hours, so it's no small deal. It's going to be several Tuesday and Thursday nights for several months, and Saturdays and Sundays. It'll be quite a commitment for those that want to go through. It appears that we may have 2 additional reserves out of Toledo, a couple from Lewis County, about 10 or 12 by the time we're said and done. There will be a fee attached to those that want to attend our academy, and we hope to pay for some of the services for the instructors that we'll have to bring into use for this. Facilities wise, makes perfect for us. We have a firing range that we can use here locally. We have a place that we can go and drive, and the school has stepped up and let us use the wrestling room underneath the stadium to do our defensive tactics. So as far as that goes, we're pretty squared away, and I'm real excited to do this.
Awesome.
And the cost for the city is going to be minimal at best, because we're hosting it. Obviously, everything to us will be at a minimal cost, if not free. So it'll be a good deal, and like I said, it'll be the first time in quite a while, if at all, where a small town like a city like us has been the host of such an academy of this type. So our next Citizens Academy, speaking of academies, we are going to run a concurrent academy with them. We'll do that in May. John Steins is working on that as well. We have started our Lexapol process. We're updating our policy. I have been selected, I'm not sure how yet, but WASPEC, the Association of Chiefs of Police and Sheriffs, reached out to me. I'm not sure where they got my name, but I've been selected to be on the policy committee for the state of Washington.
Nice.
And so, thank you. I'm pretty scared about that, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out. The basis for our policy manual is that we want to have it not only vetted through other agencies to make sure accreditation-wise, because that's what I want to get to. But the big thing about Lexapol is that they track everything that we do as far as updates and training, and as a result of that, we get a real professional look, if you will, on current policies and best practices. So for us, it's going to be a great thing. It'll be a continuous work for about the next 6 months, but John Steins is heading that effort up for us, so we're pretty lucky to have him in our court for that. The wrap for the I call it the school car, but it's a police car. It's just going to be Tenino Beavers all over it, but it's going to look really cool by the time it's said and done. I want to thank the mayor for steering me in the right direction on this. So that starts next week. With the girls and boys basketball playing the way they are, it's possible they could go to at least a regional tournament, and it'll be fun to take this car there and park it out front where everybody can see that the Tenino Beavers are in town. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that. They're going to start that next week for us. And then my school enforcement project, John O'Callahan and I are working on that, and hopefully we'll start that next week, and we can get some visibility out there to slow some people down. Other than that, I'm happy to take any questions, as I always like to do when I end my little speech up here. welcome aboard there, new councilwoman. I think I've met you once before. Oh, the media's here. Yeah,
Time to cut it.
I'll stop talking now. Anyway, that's really all I have. We don't anticipate, you know what, I better update you on the big case we had. So everybody heard about the big assault. If you didn't hear about it, we had a major assault that occurred in the trailer park. It was an elderly assault. It involved an 85-year-old male and a 82-year-old female. He was renting a room from her. He assaulted her seriously with a weapon. It was to the point where she's been hospitalized. Now she's in a facility. We later found him that night after he'd swallowed some rat poison, trying to kill himself. And we ended up having to guard him for 3 days, full days at Centralia Hospital, because they were concerned he wasn't going to make it. So he's still locked up, and like I said, she's still in a facility. And that's all I have on that.
While he was being guarded in the hospital, the chief, you know, we have to have somebody on there 24/7. The chief did a great job pooling resources together to kind of minimize costs. You know, it was an emergency, so it's not, you know, we're not counting all the pennies necessarily, but he did a good job being a good steward of our resources. He was using our reserve officer, Officer Garcia.
Sam Garcia.
Yeah, and she was there volunteering, and then he even reached out to Lewis County, who provided some of their reserves to stand by for free. So he did a good job.
Thank you, and I can't say enough about that. If we hadn't had some of those resources, there would have been some long nights in there. Even your old chief here took a shift at the hospital, and it's been a long time since I've spent that long at a hospital as a guard. So because yeah, it was over in the estates over here. So the thing that I want to just prepare you for is, because it was 3 full days and it was domestic violence, I couldn't unarrest the suspect. Like, I could have maybe in a different situation, but because it's domestic violence, you have to arrest them, and then it's a felony, so you got to guard him. And the hospital won't guard him with their resources. It has to be law enforcement, and so there's some expense coming with that. So, okay.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions for the chief? Okay.
Thanks.
We'll take a 5-minute recess and then come back at 7:30 for our business meeting.
So this is not on the docket because I've already done work. It's your CB.
How are you? Bob Swain. Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you. Oh.
So I finalized that one. That's for EDC. One of 2.
Hello, Roy. Hello. How you doing?
How you doing there? Long time. Not a long time.
Well, you know, if you have questions. Yeah.
If you will sign these, then everybody has programs their vacation for this next year.
Oh. See what? Yes.
Those are ready when you all.
I bet on the wrong horse. That's all it was
That's
too.
okay, I don't have a picture.
That's okay.
Okay.
Well, I spent all your money finally.
Oh, really?
Took me a while.
I was hoping they weren't gonna give me another one, and they did on the black. That's what it's trying to see. Yeah.
Maybe find something else.
No, I gave it away for re-gift.
Huh?
New host.
I have time.
Read a little bit of our, got a lot of experience and stuff like that, reading and stuff. The legislature might be some council.
I'm going. I mean, it's still on. In the early morning, going some places. I don't know.
It's almost like they burn bees.
So that was like a special, so it's like, you buy one, you get one, so I don't buy one.
It does.
I know they're so much for when they fell off. We told you to go through. It's been about 8 months since the last time I was
I parked out there, right up there. The white one that was over in there. Parked right behind him. Ain't getting out of here without me.
We'll get another one of those, and, just before the meeting, the scope of
Dave's?
work for building assessment here. It's coming in, so I just know that's what it is, I haven't looked at it at all.
But no, I got one for you. I just have to bring it in. I'm going to, so we'll have to
Or
do
claim
it
stairs out here, they don't take big DD
next
that
meeting or sometime.
takes, I think, more claim stairs than it does to get around.
That's right, yeah, you haven't even got a turn yet, so I wasn't gonna set you up before, I made sure you,
That's why I gotta have a scooter down here, so she will start the scooter to the top of the wheel back there.
Mine gets mailed directly
She
to
doesn't wanna do that.
I like those seats, I like the kind of seats.
Well, like this is, I'm looking at some legislation, I told him it was plans to introduce a local
What?
zoning preemption bill that would establish
Oh,
statewide
facade.
minimum housing
I
density
don't know, I'll have to talk to the
requirements
facade.
around high frequency public transit hubs as a strategy to compel cities to contain urban sprawl.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a
and
new
the
facade, for sure.
Growth Management Act. That was some of the biggest constituents I worked on when I worked for Brad. Was because of the Growth Management Act, the different rules and things, people trying to save their property from water. Yeah, just. One couple about it, yeah. And when they let people permits.
Mm-hmm.
Like 40 acres or something.
Where's Don? Oh, okay, the one from Centralia.
They had to use about 5 acres out of 40.
What happened with us with wastewater treatment plant? He's 20. It sounded like we had plenty of room for growth. And then they said, no, you got this there, you got that there, and you got this there, and you gotta leave this much open. Speaking of the wastewater treatment, how are we doing with the RV?
How are you saying?
Kind of the same.
Yeah.
Commissioners,
Yeah, I,
job to get him to the table and bug him. I'm done bugging him, and they bug him for a minute, and I haven't heard anything in about 4 weeks.
When are they coming down to the thing for the museum?
What's that?
The woman with the cameras?
She's gonna come down like Thursday maybe. She's just gonna get a hold of Troy when she's ready to come in, but it's end of this week, early next week.
Okay. So they don't need me?
No, if there's staging you guys wanna do, but she can't have anybody there, cause it's a 360-degree camera.
Yeah.
And if
I wanted to
anybody's in
see
there,
that
yeah.
camera.
Oh, she was describing it, it's cool.
I've got 6 cameras, I want to see that camera.
It sounds neat, it sounds expensive.
My husband has one.
A 360-degree camera with like lenses everywhere and stuff?
No, it's one lens, and it's front and back,
Okay.
so it wraps all the way around. There is those crazy ones that have the several different.
That's what
ones that
she
you can
has,
put
she's
into
got
this
one that she
cube.
sets up,
Yeah, those are
and
like
it's a cube.
$5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the one that you use to like make so you can fly through a house.
Yeah.
She's a realtor, so she does it for her.
Yeah.
I think real estate.
Yeah, even just this one camera, it's pretty cool. It does the full, and then you can look down, look up at the
That's
sky,
awesome.
look around, and yeah.
Seems pretty okay. That was bitching about the price.
Oh, really? Pretty simple.
But this is just telling us how much it's gonna cost to tell us how many we need.
Right. Otherwise, we don't know how much to ask for, we have no basis to
We
ask
never
for.
get any, been bringing kids to place for
I mean, we and I have talked about that before.
Get up at my
It's like doing
find out what it was
feasibility.
playing that day. I'm saying that you might
On May 14th, 2016, Eloise Kaler, a 97-year-old retired physician, revered as the matriarch of the North Peninsula Environmental Community Watching Clerk's Office and the City Hall during a citizen's petition signed by more than 1,000 residents demanded a ballot measure seeking to demote Fort Angeles from Code City, home rule privileges to the second-class city. Ability to self-govern. I'm just letting you know, this thing is.
We know you're capable.
I love this.
So, why don't we throw this on here tonight, is that?
That ain't here.
And we need to move on it because we need to have.
Sooner the better, yeah.
I saw that today when I was looking at the free file.
Sounds like the guy in the, I don't know, the guy in the red. But he's there.
Yeah, guy go up.
White
Yeah.
one.
And then, no. The housing tax, the minimum
Well,
estimate.
you're up, he's back.
I thought you said Rick. Oh, okay, see, I see what you mean, okay.
Something similar.
No, I went even met some friends in Anthony's for lunch on Saturday. And, I'm in the right-hand lane, we're down Capitol Way, because you gotta be there, in order to go down by the farmer's market. And I saw this big,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the January 2019 Tenino City Council meeting. Let the record show that all council members are present. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may now be seated. Still my favorite joke. We have an agenda before us needing approval with the addition of Under new business, City Hall renovation bid.
Move approval.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented with the addition of City Hall renovation bid being added to new business. Is there any discussion?
Is that just discussion? The City Hall bid.
Well, possible action.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes, thank you. That brings us to approval of minutes for December 11th, 2018 meeting.
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the the December 11th, 2018 meeting minutes. Is there any discussion?
Excuse me, can you go back to the agenda and tell me who moved?
I move.
And I second it.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to the consent calendar. This is the consent calendar for the period December 12th, 2018 through December 21st, 2018, consisting of payroll EFTs in the amount of $20,360.74, claims checks number 27842 and 27869 in the amount of $27,094.19 for a grand total of $47,454.93. Recommended action is to move approval.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar December 12th, 2018 through December 21st, 2018. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to the consent calendar. Vouchers for December 22nd, 2018 through January 8th, 2019. Payroll EFTs in the amount of $32,690.86. Claims checks 27877 through 27918 in the amount of $190,536.25 for a grand total of $223,227.11. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to presentations. I'd like to present Miss Rachel Davidson as the person I would like to nominate and bring forward and request confirmation to fill the unexpired term of office for City Council position number 5.
Move approval.
Second.
It has, I can't talk tonight. It has been moved and seconded to confirm Rachel Davidson as City Council position number 5. Is there any discussion?
Welcome aboard.
I'll say again, I said it in the work session, but I appreciate you stepping up, because it's hard sometimes to get people to volunteer to do this, so thanks again.
Did you hear the train?
Yeah, we can do it again.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We will now swear her in.
You need to get up so they can swear at you.
Get your picture, and then the rest of that.
Paper.
All right, come on over.
Here?
No, somewhere.
Right here?
Yeah, we'll do it like this.
Next is on the floor where you stand.
All right, repeat after me. I, Rachel Davidson,
I, Rachel Davidson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Washington,
of the State of Washington,
and the ordinances and regulations
and the ordinances and regulations
of the City of Tenino,
of the City of Tenino,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially perform
and impartially perform
and discharge the duties of the office of
and discharge the duties of the office of
City Council Member, position number 5,
City Council Member number 5,
City of Tenino,
City of Tenino,
according to law and to the best of my ability.
according to law and the best of my ability.
All right, good job. Now you can take everybody's hands.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. What work are you gonna say?
First to be black.
That one's for the county recorder. That one's for you.
Okay,
That one's yours.
Each one back.
All right, thank you, Rachel. Councilmember Davidson,
Thank you.
you can now take your seat and you are official.
Can you spell your first name for me? There's so many different ways to spell Rachel.
It's Rachel.
Pray for me.
Did you let her know that after council meeting, she's gotta go over to the wall and throw tomatoes at her? Just for the appointee.
That brings us to public comments. If there is anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment, please come forward and do so at this time. You'll be given 3 minutes. State your name and address.
I don't know what you mean by comment. I had a court date and they dismissed the case. And I asked them a couple of questions and the judge said that that's not to be taken up in the court. You should have to ask the city of Tenino. And that's what I'm here for. I'm 81 in 2 days. I've
Happy birthday, Vern.
never been arrested, never had cuffs put on me, and never been sitting in the back of a car, but I was on the 19th of October, I think. And I would like to know why I was arrested. Can anybody tell me that?
We can't get into the specifics of so public comment, come in, you can make public comment. If we want to reply, if I want to reply to you, I can, but most of this is stuff that you would come down and meet with the police chief about. And if you don't get satisfaction meeting with the police chief, you can ask to meet with the mayor and the police chief, and we can talk about it in private. And then
I'd like to do that then,
okay.
Because it's pretty ridiculous, and I'm wondering if they're still going to be doing the same bull.
Okay.
You know, I have 4 to 5 yard sales a year. I do it because I'm retired. I have nothing else to do. 90% of my time is spent going to yard sales and buying, and I have 4 to 5 of them a year selling. And if that's a business, I don't understand it at all.
Oh, I'd love to talk to you about it. So
All right.
we'll set up a meeting.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ray.
Now or talk?
No, not right now. If there's anyone else in the audience that would like to provide public comment, now is your time. You guys have a good day. Happy birthday. That brings us to public hearing for text amendment TA 2019-001. This public hearing is for public input and discussion for text amendment TA 2019-001. This public hearing will proceed in an orderly fashion, and I would like to ask your cooperation in the following procedure. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to be heard. The clerk will be recording what is said. Therefore, when you address the council, please begin by stating your name and address. Before hearing from the audience, I'm going to introduce Mr. John Millard, the city's clerk treasurer, to present information about this project. Mr. Clerk Treasurer John Millard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I am reading from the staff report for this particular action, and I'm just going to read straight from it, and then we'll see where we go. Chapter 114.100 of the Tenino Municipal Code, Lot Combinations, allows for the economical combining of 2 or more properties into one lot and provides the mechanism for doing so. While there are other reasons, oftentimes a landowner will use this ability in order to create a single buildable parcel out of several smaller parcels where zoning restrictions would otherwise prohibit the desired use. While this ability has many applications, sometimes a property owner in due course would prefer, for any number of reasons, to split the combined lot and revert back to the prior parcel descriptions. At present, the only way to undo a lot combination is via the subdivision process as set forth in Title 114 of the Tenino Municipal Code, and that process is both time-consuming and costly. slightly changing the subject, but still part of the text amendment. The current use schedule, which is another provision in the code, does not allow for agricultural uses on land zoned public/semi-public. The vision for the Southwest Washington Agriculture and Innovation Park does include some agricultural processes, such as preserving and packaging locally grown produce, meat, and dairy products, and the only place within the city limits with enough space to consider these types of activities is on the parcel of land currently occupied by the city's wastewater treatment plant. While some agricultural uses would not be approved, a fixed slaughterhouse facility, for example, some light agricultural uses are actually very compatible, complementary in fact, and should be allowed with proper precautions. So the proposal on the table is to amend Tenino Municipal Code sections 114.100 by adding a new subsection that would allow the first subsequent owner in due course to split the property along the original parcel divisions without recourse to the subdivision process. Instead, the new subsection of the code would provide for a one-time reversion to the original subdivided parcels, provided that the full legal description for each constituent part of the lot previously combined was available and valid so as to restore each parcel that had been combined to exactly the same dimensions as each parcel had prior to the combination having been formed. Again, the appropriate break. It's also proposed to amend the use schedule to allow some agricultural uses on land currently zoned public, semi-public, with an administrative use permit issued by the city. So in more simple terms, all we are trying to accomplish by this text amendment is to amend the title, the Tenino Municipal Code, so that an owner in due course of a property that had been previously combined can undo that lot combination in order to restore the parcels to their original configuration immediately prior to the combination. And we're being very specific about subsequent owners and immediately preceding owners because this is not something we want to let get out of control. It's only going to apply to if Wayne owns a piece of property and he did the lot combination and I'm the one that buys the property from Wayne, I'm the only one that can take advantage of the provision in the code to undo it. It can't be some other subsequent owner. So, you know, the phraseology is being provided to us by the attorneys of the world so that we can get this past the Department of Commerce and the other agencies out there responsible for planning under the Growth Management Act. The second piece, the piece about amending the use table, is truly an administrative action. We could have taken it at any time. We're just taking advantage of this timing to get the two actions done at the same time so that we can continue forward with the Southwest Washington Ag Park. Pending your questions.
At this, it's not your time for questions. This is a public hearing. At this time, the floor is open for comments from the audience. In fairness to all in attendance, each person will be given an opportunity to address the council for an initial period not to exceed 3 minutes. If more time is needed, it will be made available after everyone has had a chance to speak. I'm requesting the council members hold their questions to the public until everyone is done. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to provide public testimony at this time?
Leslie Lamb, 118 North, MacArthur Street North. Now, is this only going to be something for just the ag park, or will it be used throughout the city? So in other words, if we take these two parcels down here and we combine them at one point to, let's say, make a park, and the city decides to sell the property off, will that next owner be able to take and split that property back in the two original parcels?
Only if there has been no change to the original dimensions.
Thank you.
So that's why I'm saying this is very, very particular. The answer to your question is we're going to change the Tenino Municipal Code so it would be applicable anywhere within the Tenino city limits, whether here in historic Tenino or out in West Tenino. But we're being very particular about all the conditions that have to be satisfied so that there will be no way to undo a lot combination if by undoing it we would wind up with 3 non-buildable parcels as opposed to just the one.
Right.
What we don't want is we don't want land that's going to sit there vacant that we can't use because of all the other code provisions.
Now, under this code, this new code, you said that only the second person to own it.
The immediately succeeding owner.
Okay, and why is it only the immediate succeeding owner, and it can't be an owner down the line that decides that they would like to make smaller lots out of the big
Because we're trying to confine this so that we're trying to confine it first and foremost to get it past the gatekeepers of the Growth Management Act.
Okay, thank you.
And secondly, it becomes a matter of practicality. Just generally. Member of the public will come in, I want to do a lot combination. Okay, you got to do this, that, and the other thing, pay your $150. We go down and record it, it's done. So the chances are good that in due course of events, this next subsequent owner will probably all know the particulars of how the land came to be the way it is, and what they want to do. We can all go back and say, yes, the dimensions haven't changed, the lot descriptions are the same, there's been no issues with setbacks, all the hookups are good. And if we allow that to go too long, then the institutional memory won't be there.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do is keep people, give the ability to our citizens to do that using the knowledge resident at City Hall when the original action was taken. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Council members, do you have any questions of the audience or staff?
Well, you kind of answered it. Leslie asked the question I was going to ask. I don't know that I agree with the fact that if someone buys a single, that's something that's been combined into one, and then the next owner keeps it as one, I don't know that I agree that the next person couldn't split it if they wanted to. But
I kind of said the same thing,
Yeah,
and especially if it's like
because
our lots are so big. So.
well, your historical memory, it's gonna be there, that historical, it's going to be somewhere written what has happened with that property, so,
That's the theory.
It's supposed to be.
Well, just a reminder, this is just a public hearing.
Right.
This isn't we're not taking action on it, so that's where that discussion could take place. So public hearing is now closed. Good job, everyone.
I'm gonna hide.
Break the table.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hide, I've got one about this big.
Meaning to get a plastic mahogany for you.
Yeah, plastic
One of
would be
those
good,
big
John.
inflated ones with a squeak.
There you go. We have no proclamations. Old business. Tenino Farmers Market Special Events Permit and Fee Waiver Request.
Take a motion to approve.
And I second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the fee waiver request for all fees and deposits for the 2019 year for Tenino Farmers Market. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to Mayor Pro Tem and assignment of commission liaison duties. Each January, the council votes to select a Mayor Pro Tempore from among their number in the event Mayor Fournier is available or dead. Also each January, I just added the dead part, the council votes to accept or reject mayoral recommendations for commission liaison assignments as well. So at this point, we'll take nominations for Mayor Pro Tem.
I nominate me.
Sounds like the train's running on you. That's the second.
We have a motion and a second to nominate Dave Watterson, Mayor Pro Tem. Do you accept the nomination?
Sure.
Just don't die.
Or
Just
you-
don't die on me like you
Yeah,
are.
well,
Like I talked
I don't
about.
wanna do it full time.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. So we also have a proposed council commission liaison assignments. The only addition was we would add Steady. We were going to add the Facade Improvement Grant Review Committee. Steady is going to have John O'Callahan. Figure will have Miss Linda Godovac, and then you place Rachel Davidson with her approval in as the school district liaison. Do we have a motion to accept that?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the commission liaison assignments as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to new business.
None.
Nope.
Sorry,
Work
you're
done.
right.
We had it.
That's actually old business, we discussed it.
It is old business. So we talked about City Hall's renovation needs. Through working with Gibson Olson, a contractor was found to come in and provide some recommendations. This is a whole bunch of other information. Engineer will prepare and submit to the client an architectural report to detail the structural, aesthetic, and finished deficiencies. The engineer will use MWA Architects as a sub-consultant. They have been through here. I don't know if that is all they need to do, or if they'll have to come back and do some more. But our hope is that we will be able to get some type of plan together in time to make a request of the legislature to do a City Hall renovation this year. If we don't get it in time this year, we'll make it next year. But like we discussed, we feel that the City Hall needs some TLC. The consultation work from the engineer will be $4,000, and they will give us that report with which we can go and beg for money.
How soon?
What do you know what a turnaround time would be for the?
The MWA architect, the guy that came up that did the initial look was, you know, he's an architect. So he got to a better than 100-year-old building and started looking around and is really jazzed about the possibilities. Probably more detail than you need for this, but they're going to come back with, you know, fiber optic cameras and try to figure out what the heck is going on up there in the roof. So again, what we're trying to do is have them come out, do a full-blown assessment of what, you know, a needs assessment of this building, and try to establish a dollar figure that we can prove. We'll go back to the Department of Commerce and ask, you know, for whatever amount of money we think that's the purpose of this thing, to figure out how much money we need to ask for. And it will be to restore, rehabilitate the actual structure, as well as renovate the structure, particularly here in council chambers, and make this a room that is actually worthy of the title council chambers. I mean, you know, envision a new dais, a really nice presentation screen for you, a duplicate display for the audience so that everybody can see it, automatic microphone switches, you know, when you talk, the mic goes to you kind of thing. I mean, really, a first-class 21st century building for us to conduct the people's business in.
And the idea was try to restore kind of to its original.
Yeah.
As
I
much
mean,
as
that's
possible.
kind of what we were talking about.
Up in that ceiling, there's some big beams that we want to expose. It needs to look nice too. So yeah, it would be a historic preservation.
The reason for my question was, we need to get this in
Sooner is better,
soon.
yes.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, legislatures
by next
meet,
week.
capital budgets.
But, yeah, but I think the governor's budget will probably come out first week in January, if it hasn't already, I haven't looked
I see.
yet. And then it just evolves, both houses will have their budgets, and we need to get,
These guys understand, I mean, they're chomping at the bit to get up
okay,
there.
okay.
So we need a motion to authorize the mayor to make the expenditure
So
and
moved.
sign a contract with the engineering firm. It's been moved and seconded to authorize the mayor to make the expenditure and sign the contract with the contractor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Awesome.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're excited about
Tell
that.
them meet them here tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bright and early. That brings us to no resolutions, no ordinances, reports, Chamber of Commerce.
I added them.
Okay. Economic Development, EDC, VCB, Fire District, Library, Museum.
I mentioned earlier that it looks like in about 2 more weeks we'll finally get the money to work on the forestry building. So that closes out my term as the president for the museum. But I'll still be doing a lot of stuff that I've already been doing, the daytime tours, the Facebook page, all that kind of stuff. I'll still be taking
Who's
care
gonna
of all that.
replace you?
I don't know.
He's gonna be there still. They won't nominate him. Okay.
Can't be released until there's a new
Yeah,
person.
you're being
That should be
held hostage.
mandatory. Should be
Alright.
mandatory.
January 1?
Reports. Waste, Public Works Director, you have a report from him. Ty and Troy went to the Stormwater Inspector class. Pre-construction meeting with Cannabis Northwest this week, working on meters as always. You received a report from the chief. Clerk Treasurer,
I don't have anything.
no report?
No,
Yeah, right.
That's unbelievable.
Next.
So, just for giggles, I included a copy of what they call the 740 report. It's the distribution of state collected revenues, and it shows Tenino's share of all of the taxes that are returned to us after being collected by the state. So here in one piece of paper, I can tell you that last year, Tenino received a total of $391,950.14 from all the revenue sources on that report. So that's things like motor vehicle gas tax, gambling tax, forest tax, anything that the state has designated eligible for shared revenues. So, you know, almost $400,000 of fair hunk of change for us. And then, the 2018 budget, before I did any interfund transfers, Rana was kind enough to come in on December 31st and enter everything received up until that date into the system and make that end of year deposit. And I came in on 1 January and closed the books. And 93.8% was the target, and if you look at the general fund only, we executed at 96% of both revenues and expenditures. So we're getting pretty good. Here in 2019, you know, almost $100,000 of insurance bill, you know, the vouchers this time. So $227,000 of expenditures in the first half of January skews the averages way out of, way out of the park. But really, it's not bad. It's not bad. The YT Trail Extension Feasibility Study had the second stakeholder meeting on December 18th. The so what of that is that SCJ Alliance has recommended what they call, they have put forth 3 recommended alignments, paths that the trail could take. And they focused mostly on the extension southward toward Bucota. There's some discussion about the westward extension toward the Ag Park, but it clearly was not the focus of the contractor. And I believe that's because of the way that the TRPC shaped the discussion. They don't have a bad alignment for us, but those of us that live here would say, trying to go north, trying to make a trail westward, north of the existing Highway 99 roadbed is silly in the vicinity immediately to the west of the railroad trestle. And that's the alignment they were looking at. And we're like,
Unless we buy that mobile home park and turn it into a park.
the mountain's right there. They're gonna have to cut. They're gonna have to make a cut. I'm not an engineer, right? But I do know that it's more expensive to cut off the side of a mountain than it is to cut down a couple of trees. And if you stay to the south side of 99, that's about all you have to do is take a few trees out and lay some pavement down. Again, I'm not the engineer, I'm not the one doing the study.
You only play one as a city clerk for tonight.
The wayfinding signs, they are ready for delivery. My understanding is that we simply need to pick them up and install them. So, and those are, I mean, they really look nice. They really, they look nice, they fit in with everything that's already been done. We're going to have another banner year for the media down here. We closed out the Thurston County Heritage Grant just about 2 days before the Christmas holiday. We got the check for $150,000 from the county, so we've been fully reimbursed for that. We closed out the, I'm sorry, I misspoke. That's the Heritage Grant. That was for the Quarry Pool, the Quarry House renovation. That's $10,000. That's been closed out. But the Veterans Wall and Memorial, that was closed out. That's the $150,000. We're still working the interpretive signs with both the VFW and the contractor. And Chief mentioned they are working the Lexipol process. As soon as we get a bill from Lexipol that we can pay, then I can work the reimbursement through RMSA. Because these are contract extensions of existing contracts where there has been no change in the terms, we completed the South Sound Senior, so senior meals are online for this year. The Tenino Food Bank, so no interruption in their operations. In fact, they'll realize a little bit of a savings because they didn't use as much electricity this year. And an extension of the agreement with the Economic Development Council. The agreement that you approved for Experience Olympia and Beyond was signed. SCJ Alliance Municipal Planning Services, I-AIR, that should be in front of you tonight. I apologize for that. It's almost verbatim what the contract was with the TRPC. The difference that we will see this year is that rather than 4 hours every other Tuesday, SCJ Alliance plans on having somebody here for 2 hours every Tuesday. So that'll be better for our citizens. And then the statement of work or scope of work for the City Hall evaluation that you just approved. If any of your questions, that's my report.
All right, I have no report. I think it's been about a month and a half since I've even seen you guys, because Dave did the last meeting and then we didn't have one at the end of December, so I wouldn't even know where to begin. Last week we had our annual, or our monthly mayor's meeting, and that was fun, in Lacey, and we talked about homelessness, as we always do, and then fire department mergers, which was kind of fun to talk about, and that was about it. Oh, and I did kind of, I kind of complained that they're doing the Thurston County Chamber of Commerce, they're doing their state of the community thing, and they're like promoting it, and it's like, oh, we're state of the community address, and Thurston County's gonna be there, Lacey's gonna be there, Olympia's gonna be there, Tumwater's gonna be there, Young's gonna be there. I'm like, where's Rainier, Tenino, and Bucota? So I did ask the other mayors to kick the Thurston County Chamber president in the leg, and I asked Commissioner Hutchings to kick him in the leg, and then I spoke at the Leadership Thurston County class, and the Thurston County Chamber president was sitting right next to me, and they asked, like, well, what's your job? And I was, well, occasionally I have to come up to Olympia and kick people in the shins because they overlooked Tenino, and he was like taking notes. So next year, hopefully, he got the hint, and next year will be included. So there was that. And that is really about it that I can think of. Any questions? Sweet. No further reports. Public comment period number 2. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to provide public comment, please come forward and do so at this time. You'll be given 3 minutes. State your name and address. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, I'll do an announcement.
We're gonna do liaisons.
Liaisons?
We didn't do that, did we?
Wasn't that part of committees and commissions?
You didn't ask if anybody.
Commissioner Lamb,
Go ahead.
Civil Service Commission meets Thursday at 10 a.m.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That wasn't really a public comment.
No.
He missed it. He went past the.
That was my public
That's
comment.
there we go.
Committees and commissions,
There we go.
or liaisons.
We're on page 42.
See what he's saying.
We didn't do, like Civil Service Commission, Park Commissions, or liaisons. We went right to, you passed those, percent.
What's that? We don't do those
I used to do it.
You know?
No,
When did we stop doing that? Yeah,
like 2 years ago.
No,
No, wait, no.
we do the facade committee all the time.
That is a committee.
Oh,
That's not a liaison.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
well, liaisons are here, where are they?
Solid waste.
Be that to,
Those are committee assignments.
Yeah.
I heard that. I heard that.
You heard it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right here. All the commissions, the 3 commissions are committees, and then we move into liaisons.
They're all assigned, right?
No,
We're
that's
talking
not
about
what we're
this.
talking about.
We're talking about reports.
Oh.
Reporting.
Well, then where was that? How did I miss that?
Yeah.
I thought,
Of course, we don't have a report, but it's okay.
yeah, no one's gonna say that.
I hate
After all this.
I hate this new
I don't
meeting
like it
software.
either at all.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. Wait,
We're not really slick.
Yeah,
It's on page 42, Wayne, is where we're.
I'm on page 75.
I know we're still in the meeting, but
I'm on page 4.
I was on the phone with the new web page developers, and the gentleman and I are talking. And while we were waiting for something, I started griping about our new meeting management software. And when I was done, he said, "You realize I'm the vice president of meeting meetings." And I'm
You
like,
just told me my company sucks.
and I'm like,
Well, I'm sorry, I might have used different language if I had known that, but the comments are generally gonna be the same. And they've already made adjustments. They already made a couple of adjustments.
So we just switched meeting software, and so we're having some difficulties. The other one was so intuitive, and we got very good at it.
Yeah.
And this one is a little more cumbersome. It's
different.
it's not as friendly.
Transition period is always.
Yeah, and then I'm going off the paper agenda, and the paper agenda doesn't have half this stuff on it. So, Director of Public Works, Clerk, Treasurer, committees, commissions, committees. When I said we don't do liaisons anymore, I was thinking of how, like 3 years ago, we axed the council liaison to this, to that, to that. We still do these reports. Civil Service Commission, you gave your report.
Yes, sir.
Park Commission, Planning Commission, Finance Committee, Public Safety Committee, Figure. Did you have a report?
Oh, just, I think everybody's turned in whatever, whoever's gonna be
Okay.
paid, they've turned in their receipts and they've got their.
2018 is mission complete, we're
Yes.
ready for
Okay.
5,000
Be
more.
that. No report.
If I may, Your Honor, on behalf of the Planning Commission, tomorrow night, the first Planning Commission meeting of this year, our new vendor for planning services, that will be what tomorrow night's meeting is all about. Introducing them to the Planning Commission, having the discussion about what, how the Planning Commission envisions its workload this year, and dividing up those responsibilities between the commission and the planners.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we, in our discussion with SCJ, we thought that them coming down to the Planning Commission to meet the Planning Commission would be paramount. And, we could have brought them in here, but like, nope, give the Planning Commission love, go sit down with them, come out with a work plan, and then you will likely meet them at the retreat. Unless you go to the meeting tomorrow. So tomorrow's Planning Commission meeting would be a good one. But remember, you're an audience member when you're there. CIP,
We haven't met this one.
EDC.
Well, steady. You were there, John was there, he gave a presentation. You were there too, weren't you, Linda?
Yes, I was, of course.
Yeah. One of the things that George pulled me aside with later on, almost at the end of the meeting, was to let me know that we are going to be moving forward as steady with the Arts Commission thing that we talked about over here. I brought it up a couple of meetings ago. Everybody was sitting around talking about their stuff, but nothing, I didn't think anything was getting done, so I brought it up, and then I asked everybody to take a vote, do we move forward with it, or yes, or not, and everybody said okay, so we're moving forward with
So
it.
there's a meeting on the 16th at 6 p.m. here at the City Hall with somebody from the state to talk about the Creative Artists District. Correct?
Annette Roth.
Yep.
And, yeah. She was at the meeting when I brought it up. I didn't want her to leave without knowing that we were gonna move forward.
Solid Waste Advisory Board.
We did meet just real quick. The talk is still what's going on with recycling in the world, with China and other places not taking recycling too much anymore. So that was a discussion, and we just worked on developing a work plan for our committee next year. So, but we haven't finalized that yet. It's still a big issue of what a lot of recycling is going into the dump, even though you're putting in recycling. So
Really?
we're spending a lot of energy
Yeah.
recycling stuff that's now going to the dump
It's
because
going to the
places
dump.
won't take it. So
And if you don't recycle, you get fined.
yeah, well, and I was like, okay, well, we're not taking it. We should just be telling people just throw it away instead of spending all the resources to pick it up and then sort it and then send it to the dump. It doesn't make no sense.
Yeah.
So it's a huge issue, but we're not going to solve it as a one community. I mean, even as Thurston County, it's a much bigger issue than the county can really even. But anyway, so that's kind of where that was at. Whole thing was at.
School Board, no report. TRPC.
We did have a meeting also, and real quick, I'm on the. They're actually have a biennial retreat that's coming up here soon. So if you have anything that you would like to see TRPC focus on, we'll be having that, and I'm on the committee that is setting that up.
State Route 507.
Send me an email so I don't forget. I also put my name in the hat to be the secretary of TRPC for the group.
Bella.
It was
Glutton for punishment.
not Alan, was it Alan? No, it's not Alan Carr. He's the
Alan
mayor.
Vanell.
Vanell, yeah.
Yeah.
He was previously.
For like 10 years.
Yeah, and he gave up that position, so I said I'll do it if
You mean he lasted 10 years?
10 years, I don't know.
He did it
last
quite
10
a
years.
while.
Yeah, it's pretty, all they do is approve, basically go through the, like approving our payrolls every month. It's not a big time commitment, but I figured I might as well keep it in South County if we can have an influence on because they do meet with the executive board once in a while also. So we do, it'll give us a voice on the, when we're talking to staff.
Transportation Policy Board.
Tomorrow morning.
Okay. Public comment period number 2. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to provide public comment, please come forward and do so at this time. You'll give them 3 minutes, state your name and address. Nobody's moved?
Non-debatable.
The Alan Vanell reminded me of that windstorm, Dakota's dugout. Like remember in the old baseball where we played like Little League, those dugouts? That thing blew over.
Really?
The dugout blew over. Yeah, so they like took a hit. And then other announcement, Commissioner Hutchings is now the chair of the Board of County Commissioners. So our guy is now the chair of the county. So that is pretty cool. So, any other announcements?
Nope.
Hearing none, meeting adjourned. Congratulations, Rachel. It was a horrible meeting. Very good.
Congratulations also to the Tenino girls basketball team, which won the Charles Wright holiday tournament.
Oh, cool.
And is now 11-3 and 2-0 in league, in first place. They're playing 12-0 Elma, which is 1-0 in league, tomorrow at Elma.
Big game. Who they playing tonight? What's the game that's tonight?
The boys are playing tonight.
Like
Yeah,
Christian
they are.
soccer or
Yeah,
some
the
kind
girls
of.
are playing at Elma tomorrow,
Okay.
according to the schedule I have.